Okay, great. I walked away from the essential nub of my Keystone project with fewer answers than I hoped for, and far more questions, doubts, and mysteries than I began with. So I was working on a saline agriculture feasibility study on Kibbutz Keturah in southern Israel as part of my year abroad last year at the Arava Institute for Environmental Studies. And I was conducting a pretty standard agricultural study to better understand the irrigation needs of water-scarce communities in the hyper-arid Middle East, North Africa region. I used 4 types of water with different levels of salinity to understand the effect of salt concentration on Swiss chard and cherry tomato crop growth in that climate. And I gathered data for the experimental stage during my first semester, but between lacking necessary research infrastructure and falling into a more relaxed mindset as a result of being in this new, very interesting environment, my methodology was flawed, and attempts at completing a second trial during the next semester were essentially nil. I felt that while the actual results of the first stage of research are really and truly interesting, the obstacles and doubts that surrounded the project fascinated me even more. So while I worked on the one paper which dealt with my scientific inquiry, I also wrote a series of narrative essays which addressed other kinds of inquiry. Some essays describe the comedy of errors in my setting up the project and working within a very relaxed, almost hedonistic community. Some discuss the role that Western researchers play in places like the Middle East, where land is intertwined with the people, especially Arabs, on an almost molecular level, which is very different from how people in universities often understand the land. Since the Arava Institute brings together Israeli Jews, Palestinians, Jordanians, and people from around the world to solve common environmental challenges, I had to grapple with the potential geopolitical consequences of what my work stood for and what work similar to mine stood for. I also examined themes of ambition, academia, and fatalism in the face of the climate crisis. My main goal is to show that no matter how hard we try to separate our biases and desires from the work we do, and how hard we try to reduce human error, the results and the graphs we produce all come with stories about ourselves buried within. And while I don't have any firm conclusions about the degree to which any of these themes are true or universal within the research community, I am continuing to probe these issues and am learning how to embrace unanswerable questions about hard to grasp scientific truths and about ourselves. So it is my hope that in this anthology that I have illustrated not only how research shifts and changes as its agent does, but also that any line of inquiry is inherently interdisciplinary when the praxis of methodology, the political ramifications of academic interests, and the value of research in and of itself are considered. Thank you.